Hey, just taking this video so you can see my super basic, probably not Reddit friendly tour of my espresso station. Located beautifully down here in the laundry room in my basement. Not to worry though, everything is sanitized. Take good care of all the different surfaces. They just look dirty because that's foam and a little bit of wood. It's been very used over the years for various things. Now it's an espresso station. So first up, give you a quick tour of all the essential tools that I have. First thing, 3 separate towels. One for cleaning the actual parts that are going to touch food. One for cleaning the milk wand, and then another just for wiping down the station at the end of it. Other than that, come a little closer. We can talk about the different products that are important for me. Okay, we'll dig into the essential tools that I feel are necessary besides, a sink, towels, the machines itself. First up, I use this Breville, as I mentioned. Super fast warm-up, so I don't need to plan ahead to make a coffee. I can just make it happen when I'm ready. I've got a scale that's good down to 0.1 grams. You do not need one this fancy, just the cheapo Amazon whatever. For 20 bucks, as long as it's the 0.1 gram version. That's most important. You don't want it to be too out of sync compared to, one of the 1 gram ones. I also want it to be rather small, so this one's super thin, and so are the cheap Amazon ones. That way it can fit with a cup and the portafilter under there. Knockbox, very important, so you can knock it out without putting your portafilter in the garbage. You can keep this clean and nice and tidy. I have this shaker cup. The point of this is you grind the beans directly into this cup, you give it a shake, and I'll show you how that works. But the benefit of this over, I have this tool, I don't use it. You spritz the beans, you give it like a rake in the cup. That used to be a thing for me, but I find this works great for zero static. Gets them all mixed nice, and it can allow me to be very consistent. It might not be the best according to the internet, but it works the best for me, and I think that's most important. I have a nice grinder. This is a Sete 30 that I put the Sete 50 adjuster on, so I'd say it's really great. It's just very noisy, so if you probably stick to the Breville one or maybe a different one if you want something a little bit quieter. The only other piece really to talk about is the portafilter dosing funnel. There are different options. This one is mine. I like this one because it will actually sit down inside the portafilter so that as I put espresso in here, it doesn't come and sit on the ledge and I gotta like sweep it off. Some of them will sit kind of like this, and you'll put espresso in and there'll be a little bit left on the ledge that you gotta clean up. This one very much allows you to have a very clean, easy setup. Cool. So next up, we'll just talk about how I actually make espresso and what that workflow looks like. Okay, so now that I'm ready to make some coffee, most importantly, got my espresso cup. Gonna make a cappuccino cortado thing. Got my milk jug with about 4-ish ounces of milk in it. Set that off to the side. Step number 1 for me, obviously, we gotta turn the machine on. We'll let that warm up just a little bit. Once both lights are on, I like to just do this until some water comes out. Sometimes I find when you turn it on, when it comes, that first bit of water that comes out, it actually needs to purge some air. So I always turn it on a little bit till the water comes out, then let it finish warming up. And again, I use that towel just to wipe the excess. From here, I'll take my cup and my portafilter and actually warm it up with some hot water. And one pro tip I have is when you're warming up the portafilter, this is just the regular basket, but it is removable, and if you don't remove it slightly, you'll actually get some water trapped in here, so you'll end up dripping water all over your station. So as I'm warming it up, I just take my fingernail and I prop this open just a little bit so the water can drain out. And I'll show you, hey, as I put water in here and run it all around to warm it up, I could just tilt the portafilter, water will come out, and then that way I'm not dripping water everywhere it doesn't need to be. Okay, so you can see the water's draining out, and if I didn't have this popped up, if I tip it over, really nothing's coming out. It kind of seems like all the water's out, but if I do that, you'll notice a little bit more came out. Give it a shake, give it a wipe. There you go. This is nice and warm, ready to receive some coffee, and I'll do the same with my cup. Cool. So I have my scale. It's tiered with a little cup on it. I'll put in, and this is the math that I've used, but I found with this basket, with these nice Rogue Wave beans that are very, I would say, lightly roasted for sure, it takes 16.3 grams. That's the number I ended up in. Your number, grams of beans might be different. But that's how much I use so that it can fit in the portafilter, not rub on the head and that sort of thing when I'm actually putting it in. It comes out cleanly. It's meant to be a very clean workflow. So, sure, 16.2, whatever. Like I said, gets me 90% of the way. I'm here for greatness, not for perfection. I'll put these in the top. So you'll notice some people will spritz their beans before they put it in the grinder. Again, with this cup, I don't feel that's super necessary, and I'll show you what that looks like once I grind it here in a sec. Then I'll tap it just to make sure all the coffee is out. Give it one more go. You'll notice here we've got a nice grind. It's a little bit staticky, it kind of sticks. Not as bad as it usually is, honestly, but I'll just put the lid on, give it a shake for 5 seconds. Put the distribution funnel on the portafilter, and then I'll give it a tap on the counter, like so, just to get everything settled into the bottom. So now you can see, hey, what does that look like? Well, pretty much all the beans are settled to the bottom, and they are ready. Oh man, gonna do this standing up. I'll just pick this up, give it a little twist, jingle the bell, and now all the coffee is actually in the portafilter itself. And this is where I mentioned having that lip inside the portafilter is nice, because now I won't have any coffee sitting where it doesn't need to be. I don't have to clean it up. I'm not gonna rake it, I just give it a little shake just to level it out. Give it one more tap. Now you can see it's nice and settled, so when I take this off, nothing on the ledge, nothing really to clean up, just a matter of tamping this down and putting it in the machine. I don't know, I give it a twist too, why not? I saw James Hoffman do it, so here I am. So hey, there's my nice ground compacted espresso, ready to put it in the machine. To talk about grind size, I have this set on mine. It's going to be different setting for you, but ultimately I'm trying to get 40 grams out in 25 to 30 seconds. I don't play with this every day. I don't change the grind setting. I don't notice the difference that much when I'm doing milk-based drinks. You might notice it if you're making espresso specifically. You might want to go down that rabbit hole, but for me, this is good enough. So we'll pop it in. Don't take too long. Yeah, that dang scale. Put the cup in, turn it to brew. And now we'll wait for this to brew some coffee. Zoom in a bit so you can see what's going on. Right on. So now we got our coffee. let the final few drips come out. Take the cup, turn the scale off, and then I'll tap out the beans that are left in the portafilter and give this a rinse real quick. And give it a wipe. Okay, so now the next step is to steam some milk. You'll notice, hey, I got espresso. It is probably tasty, but let's focus on the milk first because that's the next important step. So we'll let this warm up, and to talk you through the workflow, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you what steaming milk looks like, but I'll post a video in the description so you can watch the tutorial I watched. Move this camera over a little bit. Okay. Once it's steaming, I just bring it out so it doesn't make a big steamy mess. You know, I'd rather the concrete floor get wet. I'll let the steam come out and then I'll turn it off so I don't spray milk all over myself. Put the nozzle in the milk and then turn it back on again. And I'll get to steaming. Some of the videos you might watch, steaming milk takes a lot less time, but with a Breville, it's very easy to do. It just takes a little bit longer. So if you're steaming a cortado, it'll take about this long. And if you're steaming a latte or two at once, man, maybe 2 lattes is too much, but definitely one, it's going to take, 30, 45 seconds just to steam the milk. I like to do it to a point where I can barely keep my hand on the cup. You can see I'm able to hold my hand on for a second. I don't want to burn my hand, so as soon as it's a little bit too hot to keep touching, that's when I turn the milk off. There we go. All right. Pour some milk in front of the camera, see how that goes. Oh, beauty. And I'm sure you saw all of that, but hey, a nice heart with a tail on the bottom. Okay, so yeah, final step for me, just some cleanup. Pour the milk down the drain, clean this out, turn the machine off, and then wipe the milk off the wand. I just get the towel with a little bit of water on it first, not the towel, but the cloth that I use for the milk one. This is the only thing it's used for. Give it a wipe, put it back. There, you're done. Time to enjoy some espresso. So that's my quick walkthrough. Like I said, this will get you 90+% the way to a perfectly good coffee shop experience. Better than, I get compliments all the time from people on how good this is. I think most important, good beans, you care about the milk, you steam it well, practice that. You can use soapy water. And then once you're done, you can have this beautiful heart with a tail art and get to enjoy coffee that tastes like you paid $10 a cup, but you made it at home. Anyways, hope this helps. Have a great day.